I want to ask you this, Sam, because Sean brought up an interesting thing of you don't just fire someone to throw it up. You have to have an idea of who are you replacing him with? Is it in the organization? Right. Is it on your AHL coaching staff? Is it your NHL assistant or associate coach or something like that? Well, there's also guys in the minor leagues, guys like Todd Nelson, who I think just does nothing but win at the AHL level. He coached here in Dallas. I think he deserves a shot somewhere again as a head coach. I think Carl Taylor has been brilliant, and there's only a matter of time. Derek Laxdal's been floating around and is in Coachella Valley now. But there are some NHL coaches, veterans, top 50 win guys who are currently unattached. So, Sam, let me throw them at you.
Mm-hmm. And don't say Boods.
I'm going to start.
I'm curious if one is.
No, actually, I wasn't going to say Bruce Boudreau.
Okay.
But no, Gerard Gallant is out there. Yep. Okay, that's just one. Now, he's the lowest of these wins that I happen to look through, right? The next one is Todd McClellan. He is, most recently coach of the LA Kings. He's out there. You also have Claude Julien, who's back on a bench as an assistant. Does he want to coach again? I know that maybe Mike Babcock might never coach again, but you have to throw his name out there. I think Daryl Sutter might be kind of retiring. But then there's this guy who's won multiple cups, who's second overall in wins.
I think he's talking about Scotty.
Nope, he's behind Scotty Bowman, and it's Joel Quenneville.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's what I was wondering. It came up in the chat, too. I was curious if that's what you were going to bring up.
That's the list, right? And I'm listing through all of those guys. The NHL loves to recycle a head coach. Once you're in the fraternity, it's safer to go out and get another guy. Joel Quenneville had Florida playing pretty well, and then he got, let go because of all the stuff that happened in Chicago, and rightly so. But somebody's going to give one of these guys a chance. Right. Is that the avenue for in-season save? And that's a great, Sean made this point off air when we were talking earlier about which teams can actually do an interim, which teams need the next coach, right? Do the Boston Bruins, if they ever decided to do something mid-season, can they go interim? Because is that admitting that they don't think they have a chance to contend? Now, St. Louis won with an interim, then made him the full-time guy, and now Toronto's hoping that Craig Berube's the answer there.
That's the other question that I was thinking of is with this stuff, you have to have a goal as well. As Sean makes a good point, you have to have an option and your backup plan, but you also have to know the goal of your team, right? Like the one that Montreal, correct me if I'm wrong here, Montreal doesn't expect to make the playoffs. So I understand where the conversation is about them, and they're obviously thinking they maybe should be better than they are, but you also need to look at the teams. Like if you're saying, how do I know what coach might be on a hot seat? Look at the team's expectations and look how they're performing. That's usually the general way to do it. Is a team grossly underperforming, like a Nashville or Ottawa, to me, is one that I think has been expected to take a next step and hasn't. But I think with your point, they also need to have a plan. And is that plan to fix this ship and get to where we're going? Should we go to the break?
Can we say one?
Pause.
No, you got to time out.
This is really important.
You got to cut him off.
We'll do it in the next segment.
No, but we can't.
Sorry, Sean, I have to.
No, but we can't mention Joel Quenneville without bringing up exactly what happened.
Sean, go ahead with what you're going to say on Quenneville.
Like we can't just with the Quenneville stuff, right? We have to say what it was. He covered up sexual abuse in Chicago. That's what him and Stan Bowman both did. And Stan Bowman has since gotten a job with the Oilers. They both are cleared to play in the NHL, to work in the NHL. These are all facts, right? Like you had something where in a sport where we talk all the time about accountability all the time, Luds, right? You've been in an NHL locker room all the time. Accountability. So Joel Quenneville, and I don't know, like I'm not going to pretend to know whether Joel Quenneville should or shouldn't be hired, but you can't talk about him potentially getting hired without talking about that other part. You can't not bring up the fact that he was part of an organization where other kids high school kids got hurt because it wasn't divulged. And I'm not sure where, and I know we've read all of that stuff. So we can't talk about Joel Quenneville just like he's some Stanley Cup winning coach who's been there. You have to look at all of that. So that to me is just, I'm not here to say his career should be over. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can't isolate Joel Quenneville as a Stanley Cup winning coach. You have to call the situation as it really is. If you're going to be the team that's willing to hire him, I'm calling Kyle Beach. If I'm that organization, I'm calling Kyle Beach. I'm looking into that because these are things that, and if Joel Quenneville has done his time and he's be fine. I'll be the first to say that, and he's deserved and paid his time and everything like that. Okay, but I can't separate that. Having read all the stuff that other reporters have done and all of this, to me, it would just be, as a organization, to make this thing, you have to make sure you are doing all of your homework. You have to make sure you're doing all the right things, because this is not as simple as, oh, like I was very, like, last Monday there was an interview with on the Amazon broadcast with Bowman, where they said, like, oh, Stan, you took a couple years away from the game, like, and that's all it was touched on as. Like, he didn't take a couple years away from the game. He was banned from the league because of covering up sexual assault and what happened. So you can't just hide that part. You have to make sure we talk about it. It's something that has to be the thing. And if Kyle Beach and the right people come out and say he did his time and everything, like, okay, he should be hired. That's fine. But let's make sure you're doing the right due diligence. So
hey Sean, and when you say you can't separate that, neither can society now. And your fans matter. And I'm not speaking for Pittsburgh fans or any fans, but that's baggage that comes along with it. And I like Joel Quenneville. I like him a lot. I played against him. I know what he played like. He's obviously a great coach, but it happened, right?